Excellent. Bend through your front foot. Inhale, arms rise overhead, coming into our first warrior pose. As you exhale, relax your shoulders down your back. Sink your hips, sink your weight down into your lower legs. Excellent. As you inhale, straighten your back, straighten your legs. And then as you exhale.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Joyful Living. Welcome to this month's installment of pain management and preventive care through alternative and complementary measures. So we started out today with some yoga, so as you can surmise, we have a special guest here today. This is Dr. Krishana Clark. I have a funny story to tell you. I met Dr. Clark about 3 years ago. She came into the chair yoga class that I was attending and introduced everyone to her chiropractic care, actually, her office. And I loved her instantly. So the next week I sent her an email. I was in her office by that Wednesday, and I've been attached to her ever since. She can't get rid of me. So she is actually a partner of mine on the, we do a live event once a quarter that is free for the community, in which we share our knowledge of complementary and alternative care management. And we have her, Dr. Chris Gertis, a nurse manager from Duke Raleigh Hospital, a personal trainer, and myself as a life coach. So we are actually just trying to share information with the community about how to live better and how to be stronger in the midst of living with pain. So today she's going to talk to us a little bit about using yoga as medicine. So Dr. Clark, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Kim. First, I want to say congratulations on your new memoir.
Thank
oh my
you.
Gosh. I have a copy, actually. I have several copies, and it's amazing. And I've not yet been able to pass them out to anyone because I've been kind of selfishly hoarding them. But I will, I promise. But yes, so I want to say congratulations.
Thank you so very much. I was completely thrilled when she and Dr. Gertis were able to attend my book release in August of Can These Bones Live Again? But I forgot to mention one critical piece of information in the introduction. Dr. Clark is also a contributing writer on one of my books from the Now What series. I Had a Knee Replacement, Now What? She and Dr. Gertis collaborated to write the chapter on reconnecting.
This is true. We did.
Yes. So tell us some more about yourself.
Okay. Well, I am, as Kim said, I'm a chiropractor as well as a yoga instructor, and I've kind of had this journey of bringing healing outside of my workspace. I've recently become a mobile practitioner, so I've taught in a couple of studios. However, I do enjoy teaching outdoors, as well as different events, and then I go to people's homes and work with them through chiropractic as well as with yoga and sometimes personal training.
Well, you seem to be a jack of all trades, but there's one core theme to that.
Yes.
And that's healing.
Exactly.
What made you get into the healing industry?
So I initially started this journey into wellness because I didn't want to sit at a desk.
That's a good reason of any.
When, being approached by different people thinking about what my future would be, I had no idea. However, I did know that I like to stay active. My entire life I've been doing things. I've been dancing and gymnastics and band and track and volleyball and anything that I can do. And then to think about the rest of my life seated just didn't sound right. So I've never ever actually worked a corporate job.
Oh, lucky you.
I don't even know what that's like. And then
that's truly a blessing.
Yeah, from what I hear. And then another thing that I've always had to deal with was I never got sick. So I didn't even know how to approach illness from a illness mindset. Yes. I only knew how to go about it through health because that's how I was raised. I did yoga from childhood. I had always had a vegetarian lifestyle. I was raised as a vegetarian. I actually never went to a chiropractor.
Okay.
And I didn't learn about chiropractic until after graduating from Michigan State. I went to school for kinesiology, exercise science, and I wanted to do strength and conditioning and working with athletes. And after I started working with the general population, I realized people don't move enough and people aren't well.
Okay.
So I said, how can I bring them something to make it better?
You raised an interesting point there. You said you never approached medicine from an illness perspective. Because one thing that I've learned about the medical industry, and this is not to say anything negative about them because I use doctors, but they treat symptoms.
Yes.
They don't cure anything.
Exactly.
And that was something that I had to learn in my years of going to and back and forth to the doctor. So now I try to approach my life as well from a health perspective as opposed to going to a doctor and getting a prescription, because all that's doing is just covering up your symptoms when I actually want to know what the cause is and what is the trigger that is causing these symptoms. That is what I want to find out. So what can we do as individuals to start using yoga as medicine? What advice do you give someone who's new to yoga?
Well, it's funny.
Well, that's two different questions. Let's answer both of them.
We'll answer both of them somehow. We'll come around to it. It's funny because a lot of people who have seen yoga practices, they've seen people from an advanced standpoint.
Right.
People don't really see people starting to do yoga. So a lot of times people come in with some fear and trepidation, like, I'm not flexible. I can't do this. So instead of having the mindset of lack, trying to come in where you're open to this new experience. Okay. Because the entire time, it's more about just creating an awareness for yourself. It's not about how flexible you are. It's not about if I can do this pose and stand on my head and whatever. It's about becoming aware of your body, becoming aware of your breath.
I was just watching an insect. I thought it was an ant, but you're kind of fine. It's a fly. We are in nature, guys.
We are in nature, and we are getting bit by bugs.
Yes, we are. We're sweet. That's what happens when you're sweet.
So approaching yoga with an open mind.
Okay.
So being able to say, no, I may not be able to do this, but what can I do?
Right.
So kind of playing around with it and, maybe even coming into like a wonderment or a childlike sense of adventure.
I love that because, one of the things that I say every morning when I'm praying, I was like, God, I want to have fun today. And I tell everybody that I want to experience the world every day with childlike wonder.
Yes.
And it makes you giddy.
It does.
And
it
brings an enjoyment to just being able to do this, to be able to experience every moment by moment. Yeah. Not looking forward to what's going to happen at 6 p.m. today. Yeah. Not looking back at what happened at 5 a.m. when you didn't want to get up this morning. Yeah. But in this moment, looking at things with a childlike wonder through a child's eyes.
And staying present.
Staying present.
Staying present.
Excuse me. This is real, y'all. I wanted to make sure that wasn't a bug. I'm sorry. You got to have fun in life. It's like we don't do anything really serious around here because life is full of hardships, but it doesn't have to be hard. So I always encourage people to be their unique and authentic self no matter what you're doing. So my videos are going to be kind of crazy because I'm kind of crazy. I love it. I embrace me, and I know, Krishana, can I call you that, Krishana?
You can call me Krishana, please.
I know Krishana is a little crazy too. But on to
we have to be.
We have to be.
Yes.
So you were talking about going into the classes. So I wanted to talk to everybody. So we started out the shoot today doing an actual demonstration, and we did that intentionally because I'm doing standing yoga now. And we left the wobbles and the bobbles in intentionally.
That's a part of the process.
It's a part of the process.
Yes.
What many of you don't know is I started out doing chair yoga. Before I had either my knees replaced, I was wearing a leg brace, I was using a cane. But I kept going to the chair yoga, and I kept doing it at home, and I have a book and a DVD that had it in so that I could do it every day. Well, then I was able to start going to the adaptive yoga class where we were actually getting down on the floor. And sometimes there was a little stage in the room for instructors when they do other kinds of exercise. Sometimes I would use that to get down so that I could scoot the rest of the way into the floor. It was not pretty. I realized that. But we were able to use straps, bolsters, towels, and a multitude of other things that allowed us to get into some of the positions. When I started doing this class, now you notice I'm sitting in my version of Indian style. It does not look like hers.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to look like hers.
Exactly.
But after getting both of my knees replaced in 2015, and that brought my surgery count to 11, I'm now able to do standing yoga. And it's not always pretty. It's always fun. And you see I'm sweating. Well, one, because she worked me hard. That was supposed to be an easy demo. We worked hard, but it's hot out here. It is over 90 degrees today. And we're in the forest, but it's still hot. But I'm saying all of that to you guys so that you stay open to the possibilities. If I hadn't been open to going to that first class, and after that first class, I was like, I was in a lot of pain when I got here, but I'm not hurting now. So I kept going back, and I kept going back. And even today, having had 11 orthopedic surgeries, I still have torn cartilage in my hip. I have neck and shoulder pain because I use my arms to get up for years instead of using my legs because I had so much pain. But even with all of those things, I'm still able to get out here and enjoy a standing yoga class now because I started with what I could do. And there were people in the class who were much more advanced than me, and there were people who were behind me. Not behind me, but just in a different phase of life than me. But we kept going, and we kept growing together. And so today when Dr. Clark, or Krishana, this is my friend, y'all, so I'm not accustomed to calling her Dr. Clark.
She called me Krishana.
So when I'm able to attend one of her standing yoga classes, it makes me giddy on the inside. And I laugh the whole time because some of the stuff I'm like, I cannot even act like I'm going to do that. But I try, and because I spent so many years in adaptive yoga, I know how to adapt some of them naturally so that I can do them. Say, oh, they're doing this, so let me do this instead.
Yeah.
It's not a competition. It's not about going in there and, again, as you said earlier, being able to stand on your head. The amount of flexibility, the pain relief that I've gotten from doing yoga, that's the benefit. That's where you win.
Exactly.
So, in your classes, how have you seen your students progress from, give us an example of a student who came in and you just saw their progression.
Oh my gosh. People progress on all different types of levels. There's people who come in, of course, not everybody, but a lot of the times people have that same conversation of, I'm not flexible enough. But after class, because I always encourage with anything that we do, it's always going to be, this is your practice. You don't do yoga because of me. That's not why we have to do it. So I always encourage someone to find what they need for their body. A lot of times I try to tune into people just to kind of see what it is that they need, if they need a gentle hand or some assistance or more verbal cues, just to move their body into a certain way. But after a class, from people who've never done yoga before to the people who've done yoga for years, people always find a sense of I don't want to say completion, but a sense of fullness and completeness for themselves. Even if that's something as less stress or less tension in their body, to their thoughts have been racing or feeling anxious, to reduced anxiety. Because again, like I said, yoga is with dealing with bringing your breath into things. So a lot of times, just to be able to breathe. If we're doing a ton of different yoga poses and somebody is like, I can't do it. Yes, you want to encourage them to do it. However, if this is something that they're not ready to do, even sitting down, just breathing is yoga. So having that understanding and being comfortable and confident in knowing, okay, this is enough for me, and this is exactly what I need. That's always having that awareness of themselves.
The one thing that I was always surprised by when I showed up for classes, and sometimes I showed up like not wanting to be there. Like, I'm tired, I got too much going on, I ain't got time for this today. But after class, I always felt a sense of calmness and more relaxed and in less pain. Where it may have taken me to do the scooting and all this maneuvering to get in the floor, I could typically roll over, pop up in a downward facing dog, put my brace on and be on my way.
Yes.
But it would be such a difference in the flexibility that I showed in the beginning of the class versus the end of the class.
Yeah.
And that's just in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So I know what it happens when you do it consistently on a regular basis. And
Inhale, arms rise. Exhaling, bending your elbows, bend your knees. Inhale, arms rise, straighten your legs. Exhale, last time, bend your elbows, bend your knees. This time, opening up as you inhale, open your arms, you're going to face me. Opening your hips, bring your arms to the wrist.
we're going to keep that.
Excellent. Look over.
Oh, look, you can see Dr. Clark and you see me. But yoga's for everybody.
Yoga is for everybody.
With her, I'm not even going to say what size she is. But I know that I'm a size 18 or 20 plus size woman.
Yes.
It's like yoga is for everybody. Yes, we work it.
Yes.
But this is about not so much being small or being skinny. It's about being healthy.
Exactly.
And at my size now, it's like I don't have any health issues other than them joints. Now, we know those joints are bad. But not bad. They're different. It's like, but I want people to get out of this that you have to stay open to the possibilities because you can do anything that anybody else can do.
Yes.
Don't sit on the sidelines waiting for you to become a size 16, 14, size 8, size 6, 0. Celebrate you at no matter what size you are.
Exactly.
Walk with your head up, your shoulders back, and work it, girl.
Yes.
Oh, work it, man, whatever.
Work it.
Work it.
However you identify. And with saying that too, it's so unfortunate because a lot of times I used to work a lot in gyms, different gyms and training studios, and I would say the number one excuse that I always heard is not about finance. It's not about time. It's about people and their insecurity with how they look. Oh, I'll come to you after I start working out. Like, this isn't I'm gonna judge you or push you or make you uncomfortable and you have to start before you come to me. This is a starting point.
Let me assure you, yoga is a workout.
Yoga is a workout.
Even when we were doing chair yoga, when we advanced to adaptive yoga, don't think you're not working out. Yoga it is definitely a workout. So tell us, what parts of the body can you work with yoga?
Every part.
Every part. I just wanted you to say it.
Every part. Every part. From you find flexibility in your feet a lot of times, and that's just from the ground up. So starting from the ground up in your feet. You're barefoot doing yoga. If you think about during a day, during a week, during a month, how many times your feet are in shoes, we're not utilizing all the muscles that we have in our feet when we have them confined in the shoe. We're taking away a lot of what nature intended by not walking barefoot. So being able to stabilize on your own 2 feet, finding your balance, finding strength coming from your foot, and then even stretching the muscles of your foot. So from your toes to your knees to your hips, there's a lot of hip openers, there's a lot of spinal mobility. So being able to move in simple positions like cat-cow. A lot of times, even because it's a great yoga's like chiropractic's little sister, for me at least. So I always, anybody who I encounter, I always tell them, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do cat-cow because sitting all day, you know, a lot of times we have a lot of desk jobs or even standing, being postured, hunched over at the computer or on our phone. It's a chronic state of poor posture that we're in. So finding that spinal mobility with cat-cow, we're working our spine, we're working our core, we're working all the muscles in between with our hips and our shoulders being on all fours. Even utilizing like different presses for your arms, stretches for your hands and wrists. So a lot of times when people have like tight, so carpal tunnel, so people who have really tight fascia right here, just even stretching out your hands, doing things on your arms, neck stretches when you let your head release when we're hanging
that
head
feels
down.
So good.
So good.
Oh, God.
So good. We have to carry our head all day, and so just imagine when you're here letting your head hang and just like taking off all the pressure. You relieve pressure from your head, from your neck, from your shoulders. So it's a complete, total, full body. And instead of, it's not just stretching, but it's lengthening your muscles as well as strengthening different parts of your body, because you start to realize that you need to find strength in order to balance.
Yeah.
So you find this core engagement, you find strength in your feet, you find strength in your legs that you didn't once have before you utilized it improperly. Just because the patterns that we teach ourselves, we start to reform and start to then bring our body into a different alignment.
Yeah. And I really like that you mentioned stretching there, because when I was in my absolute worst pain and could not do any kind of cardio whatsoever, I couldn't walk a quarter of a mile. It was just, I couldn't do it possibly because of the pain that I was in. Even with my brace, that was about the furthest I could walk, and that was going to be excruciating.
Yeah.
But I stretched every day.
Yeah.
And
that's so important.
That has been one of the things that have saved me.
Yes.
Because when I went to physical therapy after every my surgeries, they was like, wow, like I'm not as flexible as you are.
Yeah.
But the thing that I learned is that when you are sitting all the time and when you're in pain, you are clenching your muscles involuntarily, trying to wrap your mind around the pain. But when their muscles stay constricted and tight like that, they get balled up. And I still have trigger points and knots, even with all the stretching that I did. So if you're someone that's in chronic pain, even if you are in the need of a total knee replacement, you have chronic arthritis, if you don't do anything else, stretch every day. When you get up in the morning, sit on the side of your bed and do some gentle head stretches, some arm stretches. If you can get in the floor or sit in a chair and just, flex your heel and sit it back up, just to do different things to keep your mobility. Because that mobility is what's going to be able to help you get back up on your feet once you have surgery, or, just go through different things. That flexibility goes a long ways and just helping you stay healthy.
And also to add with flexibility, finding stretches that work with the areas that are tight and areas that we might have had surgery on, because it helps to reduce the scar tissue.
That's a whole nother interview. We don't have time to go into that today.
But just to lead into for future.
And you see, I have changed my positions like 3 or 4 times while she's sitting comfortably in hers.
Yeah.
We got to be able to accept what it is that we can do and grow from that.
Yeah.
Like, I can't sit in Indian style like that. I usually don't sit in Indian style because, again, I got hip issues and I got 2 artificial knees.
Right, exactly.
It's like, but
you don't want to cut the blood supply off. You want to keep it flowing, so keep it moving.
So I move.
Exactly.
But this has been great.
Yes.
Krishana, thank you so much. Is there anything else you would like to add?
I do have a question for you.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
See, I wasn't ready. I
wasn't ready.
No.
So what actually made you go to your first class?
So, gosh, this was years ago, but I was still years away from getting my total knee replacement, and nobody was willing to give me one because I was simply too young. And I was in so much pain, and I had started doing the deep breathing because I started researching on my own ways to naturally reduce pain, because I didn't want to use pain pills. And at the stage of arthritis I had, I could have gotten anything I wanted. But I got some Norco that I would take occasionally at night, but I was like, I don't want to depend on this because all it does is put me to sleep. And 2, I feel so foggy the next day. I'm like, I don't want this. And I was like, so I started to research ways to reduce pain naturally. And I started deep breathing, and I went to a retreat in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and they had a yoga class on the second day. We were there in the morning. And at that night before, they had encouraged everybody to come. And, they saw, and I'm like, well, I don't know. And I saw the teacher, and she said, are you coming in the morning?
Yes.
And I said, yes.
Yes.
So I showed up, nervous, and she showed me how to modify my moves.
Yeah.
And at the end of the class, I was like, I really enjoyed that. And she told me, when you get home, look for a modified yoga or an adaptive yoga or something of that nature. And she's like, do not go into a full-fledged yoga arena. She's like, because that's going to intimidate you.
Exactly.
She's like, I want you to start out with this. And when I got home that Sunday, when I drove home, I looked for a yoga class and found the class that I started attending right away.
Yes.
And it changed everything for me because it reduced my pain.
Yeah.
And it kept me, quite frankly, I'm just going to be honest, from losing my mind. It's like, because I felt foggy and just so out of sorts and disconnected. But being in the yoga class and breathing and honestly being in a environment with other people who were, quite frankly, suffering the way I was, but we were willing to do something about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had forgotten about that story. Well, how did I start this? But yeah, it was in Myrtle Beach. It was the butterfly retreat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. I didn't know that. Thank you for sharing that with me.
You're welcome.
Just the thought of the different types of classes. There are a ton of different classes. If you just search yoga, it could be very intimidating with all the information that you receive. But being able to search different styles of classes to find one, and don't be afraid to try them out, even if you do like a home practice or find a teacher that you might like in your area. But there's a lot of different classes. Some of the key words or terms that you might want to look for would be like a gentle or restorative class, adaptive, as Kim said. There's also a certain style of yoga where they use all props, and it's Iyengar yoga. Iyengar.
So you learn something every day. I'd never heard of that one, and I've been doing this for years.
Yeah. There's a class. So the breathing techniques that are utilized in yoga, it's called pranayama. And so those are classes or just styles geared directly or specifically to just breathing. And then there is a kind of meditative restorative yoga class. It's called Yoga Nidra, where you're basically lying prone or on your back, or I guess you can do it, they may adapt it for a lot of people where you can either be seated, but I know a lot of the class styles are lying, and it's kind of just like a relaxing meditative style yoga where someone's talking to you and kind of leading you through things to do with your body as well as just different things to think about. So there's different styles of yoga. You want to look for like a beginner class, but you don't, if anything says like vinyasa, that's not something that you want to automatically go to if you're just starting, or power yoga.
Right. What is hatha?
Hatha yoga.
Yeah.
So hatha is a good yoga form. A lot of times it's just, so with the vinyasa, you're going to flow through sun salutations. What a sun salutation is, you're going to do
I've seen that.
downward dog, up dog, flowing through. You're going to be up and down a lot, going through this cycle of 12 different poses. But with hatha, instead of flowing, you're going to kind of go to one pose, stay there for a few breaths, and then change to a different pose.
Okay.
So it's not going to be this flowy style. It's going to go together, but it's not going to be each breath you move. So vinyasa, you're moving each inhale, each exhale, you're moving. With hatha, it's a come to this pose, hold it, let's move on to a different one.
Okay, thank you for explaining that, because again, I've been attending for years, but I've never researched the actual classes and what each one means. And that's exactly what we were doing in adaptive yoga. We would do a pose,
exactly.
We would hold it, and of course we did it balanced where you did each side of the body.
For sure.
But even that, you would be like, okay, we need to move on to another exercise because this, I'm ready to change poses. But in the beginning, it would be something as simple as, dropping your knee to one side.
Yeah.
In the beginning, you may be able to drop it this
exactly.
far, but by the time you do this,
exactly. Stretch it out a little bit.
It may be
more.
on the floor, or it may be on a block,
exactly.
but you are more than 50% greater than what you were initially.
Exactly.
Like, I did not know I could stretch that far.
Exactly.
But it's really beneficial, and I love it.
And then, speaking of stretching that way, it's important to hot yoga.
I don't want to do that.
Is not something that I would recommend, especially for people who have had surgeries initially. It's a great practice. However, with hot yoga, it's heating the body from outside in order to find a deeper stretch. So with that, you want to be really aware of your body, because you don't want to overstretch, because then you can start to really injure yourself and tear ligaments. And it also dehydrates you, so it's not really the best thing. However, some people love it, and it's a really great practice. I do it maybe once a year for, like, if I really need to detox. and it's winter time, and I want to get hot. but
then I could see going then, because I'm trying to stay warm in the winter. I do not like
I don't like being cold. I don't want it.
It's like we chose to do outside today because I know she likes heat and I do
hot.
too.
Exactly.
It's like I don't mind being hot. It's like well, in the winter you can add on no. I don't want to add anything. I want heat. It's like heat. I like heat.
Exactly. So like with hot yoga, the whole concept was because it's hot in India.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a hot, dry place. Practicing, they wanted to kind of reformulate that whole idea and bringing it to the U.S. They're like, okay, well, let's heat the rooms and have it mimic the environment of India. Like I said, for some that's good, but if you're coming off of a surgery or off of an injury, you really want to pay attention to your body, really start to gain that awareness and that new awareness of what your body is like now after a surgery or after injury or with arthritis, you know, so you don't further injure yourself. So
I'm sure you want to make sure you're fully hydrated
Definitely.
before you go into the class. And
Before
the truth
and
of it is
after.
most of us are not fully hydrated
Not
on a
at all.
day-to-day basis.
Exactly.
So thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Please tell us how we can reach you, and if anyone is interested, because you do travel.
I do travel.
You
I
do travel.
a
I
lot.
can't find her to hang out. We usually do summer concerts,
We
and
do.
she has abandoned me.
Summer's just getting started. I do travel. I really enjoy it. I do workshops and events. So if anybody wants to find me, I have one Instagram that I'm really on, but I have two. So the one I'll give you is at INTU _me, M-E, _ the letter I _ SEE. So it's at into me, IC. And then my website I have two websites, but I'll give you one. My chiropractic website, it is tlclifestylecenter.com.
Lifestyle Center.
Yes.
Yep. When I first met her and she told me the name of her office, I knew that I was going to be there a lot.
She has been,
And I
she
have
stayed with
been.
me
Yeah.
through all the stuff, all the changes.
Yeah, it's like I've been through a lot of changes and you have been too, but it's just growth.
Exactly.
It's just growth, and we are going to be connected for a very, very long time, if not forever. And I'm like, oh, here she is. It's like she's 92, yes. And I'm 107. Krishana, you home, honey? You know, y'all know I'm the Southern Belle, and she's from Michigan, so she didn't know what she was getting into when she came to Raleigh. But it's been great. I appreciate you so much. Is there a telephone number that anyone can reach you at?
I do have an office number, and when I say office, it's a mobile office number. It's 919-307-9665.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing with us and clarifying some things for us, and giving me a mini workout today. And she tried to work me hard, y'all. It's hot.
It's only the beginning.
It is only the beginning. But again, guys, if you need to reach me, I am Kimberly Dixon. If you have questions about total knee replacement or arthritis, or you have a particular alternative and complementary practitioner you'd like to hear from, because some of these modalities I'm familiar with, others I'm not. So if there's something that you want to be researched, please let me know, and I'll find a practitioner. We will find one so that we can continue to share information, because that's what this channel is about. It's about spreading joy. It's about spreading love, but it's also about giving you information that you can use day in and day out that's going to allow you to live more joyfully. So if you need to reach me, you can reach me at coach@joyfullivingwithkimberlydixon.com, or you can call me on my office line. You cannot text this number. It is an office line. It's 919-977-3160. You can find me on Instagram or IG. That is the same thing. Instagram or Twitter at @JoyfulKimberlyD, and my YouTube channel, or you can find me on Facebook at Joyful Living Life Coach. Or you can just contact me at Kimberly Dixon. Yes, I'm still taking friends, because a lot of people that met me through YouTube are now, we personally have friendships. We don't actually know each other. They're all over the world, but we actually interact with each other and talk to each other because they're sharing their individual stories. Because the part of my business that's about giving is just sharing my information about pain. It's like, because I do paid coaching, but the information that I give to chronic pain sufferers, that's my gift from God to them.
Yeah.
And I was like, so if you want to talk to somebody or if you have a question, I get emails. I sometimes talk to people on the phone, so we are actually building relationships. It's like, because this world that we live in, we are interconnected and intraconnected, but we've become so disconnected because we don't talk to each other, we don't interact. But when you're in pain, you need to have that relationship with somebody who understands. So this part of my business is the giving part. So if you need me, reach out to me. Again, this is Coach Kimberly Dixon with Joyful Living and Krishana Clark, also known as Dr. Krishana Clark. And guys, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next month with another alternative and complementary practitioner. Talk to you soon.
Yay. Thank you.
That's a wrap. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Oh.
Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, neutral spine. Press your hands into your shins. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Arms rise. Look up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Close your eyes. Just take a moment. Finding something, a memory, a thought.